title of today's class is Practice or Perish, How Preparation Impacts Your Soul. Practice or perish, how preparation impacts your soul. So we're going to land back a little bit off of Deacon Malachi's class from the second day of Purim. And just going into the importance of us preparing and our preparation and our application of God's commandments, following counsel, and different things we have to do and follow, and the steps we got to do in this walk in order to get the kingdom. Let's start with the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the Scriptures, might have hope.
So the Scriptures say, for whatsoever things, meaning anything that was written in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Apocrypha, was written for all of our learning. Meaning what? We should take heed to whatever has been written in this book, because all this book is for us, and it's to help us. People say, Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth. Even though we're going to be here on earth, basic instructions before Christ comes. All right, read the last part again. We through patience.
That we, through patience and comfort of the Scriptures, might have hope.
So through patience, meaning us being able to bow down to our carnal thoughts that we might want to move hastily outside of what the commandments say, outside of what the book says, and talking about having hope, meaning believing and having faith in the Scriptures and what they say. And as far as the guides that have been given to us and the counsel that has been given us through the Scriptures or from leadership from via the Scriptures, that we got to make sure that we believe those things and that will be true. Let's go to Judges 5 and 11. Let's start the book of Judges.
The book of Judges, chapter 5 and verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
So it says, those that are delivered from the noise of archers, where?
There they shall rehearse.
No, read it again.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
In the places of drawing water. Who knows what that places of drawing water is referring to? Places of drawing water. Anybody got a clue? Brother Jesse. No, that's not. Change it. Jesse.
Yeah, shalom. It's going into our captivity, us being over here in America.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, what about our brothers and sisters who are scattered?
Well, they're still in captivity wherever they're scattered at as well. So
right.
It's still going into captivity.
Right. So this is talking about the people who are in captivity.
Yes.
Okay, all praise. All right, let's read that again.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers.
So those who are going to be delivered from the nuclear missiles coming to America, coming to and even different parts of the Caribbean. Slide. Which way? You slide over. Come on. So read that again.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
So we know that the nuclear missiles are coming here to North America, to Babylon. So those who are in captivity here specifically,
there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
Saying there shall they rehearse, meaning practice the righteous acts of the Lord. So just like Deacon brought out a couple of days ago, 2-3 days ago, keeping the feast days. They're here. We have to rehearse and practice keeping the feast days properly. That is a way for us to get redeemed from here. When those missiles come, for us to get saved, for us to endure through the wilderness, that's one of the things that we have to practice and rehearse. Give me the definition of rehearse and read that again.
Verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
Okay, put that up. So rehearse. Let's see the definition of rehearse. The first one, to say again, repeat. Jump to 5. I think that's the one I want. 5 or 4. 5, to perform or practice as if in rehearsal. So who here has been part of a sports team before? Raise your hand. Any type of sports club or sports team. Okay. What about anybody been in a part of like a drama or a play or anything like that? Okay. So in those dramas or plays or those sports teams, what did y'all do almost every day? Rehearse and practice, right? For what? What was the goal of the practice and rehearsals? To prepare and to get better, right? Yeah, for that game day. So for us, our game day that we're preparing for is Lord's will, being saved when those bombs come, and enduring through the wilderness. So our game day has like us. The first half is when the bombs come. Second half, we got to endure through that wilderness. So that's going to be a long game that we got to prepare and practice and rehearse for. And it's not going to be easy. Read that again.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
So in order for us to be saved, we have to be practicing and getting better at keeping these laws here. Even when it's the feast days that people think, oh, it's not a Sabbath, so I don't got to show up the second day. I showed up the first day, I'm fine. No. It says we got to keep that feast day for 2 days. Actually, it's 3 days if you count Nicanor, because they roll back to back one to another. So certain things like that, we got to learn to practice and rehearse, because if not, we're going to repeat the same things in the wilderness if we make it there. Or not keeping that holy day could spill into other stuff. You might start taking other stuff less seriously or unseriously in this truth because of that. Let's get an example of our forefathers coming back to their remembrance like we are now and keeping these high holy days. Let's jump to First Ezra chapter 5 and verse 48 to show that there's no excuse for any of us not to keep these high holy days, because we have the liberty of doing these things now. Even though we're in captivity, we're not under the guys right now as far as if somebody sees us we're friends, we getting put to death. We're not under that pressure like right now like our forefathers were.
548?
Yeah, First Ezra 5 and start from verse 48. Yep.
Yes, sir. The book of First Ezra, chapter 5, verse 48. Then stood up Jesus, the son of Josedek, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Sathiel, and his brethren, and made ready the altar of God of Israel.
Keep reading.
To offer burnt sacrifices upon it, according as it is expressly commanded in the book of Moses, the man of God.
So in this time, this is before Christ came, so we were still doing sacrifices. So read 49 again.
Verse 49.
So these brothers here were applying Romans 15 and 4, following what was written aforetime. Read that.
Verse 49. To offer burnt sacrifices upon it, according as it is expressly as it is expressly commanded. Get the definition for me for expressly. Keep reading. As it is expressly commanded in the book of Moses, the man of God.
So they were doing stuff in order according to what they read in the scriptures as far as what was commanded of them. And they said was expressly commanded, putting much, much importance on that. I'll put that up. Expressly. Zoom in. No, I'm blind. Explicitly. How you say it? Explicitly, thank you. Explicitly, clearly, directly, plainly, distinctly. So meaning they made sure they made no fault in the way they were doing their sacrifices and setting the altar up. Keep reading.
Verse 50. And there were gathered unto them out of the other nations of the land, and they erected the altar upon his own place, because all the nations of the land were at enmity with them.
Read that again.
Because all the nations of the land were at enmity with them.
So even at this time when all the nations were still against them, because we were in captivity still, they were still going hard to keep the Most High God's laws. We can go to work, go to the store, do as we please, wear fringes, keep the Sabbath day, go to the woods and tabernacles, and nobody's bothering us. But some of our people still have a problem keeping the laws of God when we have free range to do it right now, when we're not getting persecuted for it. Keep reading.
And oppressed them.
And they were being oppressed.
And they offered sacrifices according to the time, and burnt offerings to the Lord both morning and evening.
Amen. Read that again. And start from and.
And burnt offerings to the Lord both morning and evening. Also, they held the Feast of Tabernacles.
So also, they did what?
Also, they held the Feast of Tabernacles. As it is commanded in the law.
As it is commanded in the law. Just like we was commanded to keep the Feast of Purim for 2 days. But some of our people can't even do that. Keep reading.
And offered sacrifices daily, as was meet.
As was needed. Keep reading.
And after that, the continual oblations and the sacrifice of the Sabbath.
So meaning they was keeping the Sabbath day too. And what else?
And of the new moons.
And the new moons. And remember, this is all under... where does it say? Under enmity and oppression, they were still keeping these days. And what else they do?
and of all holy feasts.
So, and of the new moons and all the holy feasts. So besides the oppression and the enmity and the hatred they was facing, they still found a way to keep these laws because they knew the importance of it. We got to see the importance of that. Read 50. No, that's it. Second Maccabees 6. That's one of my favorite scriptures. Favorite. Yep. 6 and 6. We're going to read down to 11.
Yes, sir. The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So during this time, it was against the laws of the land for us to keep the Sabbath day, like we did a couple days ago, or ancient feasts, like we did a couple days ago too, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew, as we should be doing every day. So it was against the law. So sisters, if y'all got caught with your friends in your head wrap, you'll be locked up or killed. Brothers, if you got caught not wanting to eat unclean meat, you'll be put to death, and vice versa. Same for the sisters too. If we got caught keeping God's laws, we were persecuted for that, just like happened to us in Spain, and it's going to happen to us here again. The same curses the same afflictions are going to come unto us until Christ comes. So that is going to come to America. Keep reading.
Verse 7.
So if we can't even do these things now in the times of peace and easiness, so like if you can't show up to practice in the game when you get hit in the mouth, you going to give up? That's what a lot of our people are going to do. That's why we got to make sure we're practicing now, so when the affliction comes, we don't give in. We don't become a betrayer. We don't turn our back on the gospel. Because this is scripture, when we read, we're going to see people that did do that. Keep reading.
Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth every month, they were bought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices.
So some of our people were literally forced, just like, what movie was that? I think it was Birth of a Nation, where they broke the brother's teeth and made him eat the food. Our people were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices, meaning some of our people were forced to eat unclean meat because they weren't sacrificing clean meat for their king's birthday. You know, that was swine and a whole bunch of other stuff. They were sacrificing to Zeus and Hercules and all their Greek gods. Keep reading.
And when the feast of Bacchus was kept.
The feast of Bacchus. Who in here is from the tribe of Benjamin? No Benjamites? Oh, so, Bacchanal, Carnival. You know what that's talking about? So they were doing that back then. Keep reading. We'll read that again. And when the feast of Bacchus?
And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession.
So we were compelled, forced to celebrate that. Now our people willfully go out there, let their wives dress as whores, dress their daughters as whores, and go and whoremonger, have babies, fornicate, all that. Now we do willingly. But back then we were forced to do those things. We were forced to break God's laws or get put to death. Some of us chose death. Some did it under bitter constraint, and some chose to die. But now we willingly do these things. Keep reading.
The Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Moreover, there went out a decree.
So now there's another law going out.
To the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews.
So against us.
That they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Basically, they wanted us to be gay and eat pork. Long story short, that's what the Greeks wanted. Because when you see those old, like Spartacus, or those old TV shows and movies, a lot of stuff they did, it was dealing a lot of sexual things, but it was a lot of, sodomy going on too. Like even a lot of these famous artists from back in the day, these famous painters, a lot of them from like Greece and Rome, they dealt with a lot of pedophilia and homosexuality. And that was the big thing at that time that they wanted us to be a part of. If you watch Shout Out Tuesday, Bishop brings it up all the time. The Bath Boys, the Aaron Boys, they made us do things against our will. That's what they wanted. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And whoso would not conform themselves to
whosoever wouldn't bow down and do those things
to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death.
We got put to death. Keep reading.
Then might a man have seen the present misery.
Keep going.
For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children.
So because we circumcised our children, like it says, according to the law,
whom, when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
So after making a display of them throughout the city, however they were dragging them about, it doesn't say if it was by a horse or a cart or however they did it, it was physically torturing and embarrassing the way they was doing it. And at the end, what do they do to our sisters?
They cast them down headlong from the wall.
So y'all seen Game of Thrones when they hang people from like the top of the castle. Then they killed our sisters just for circumcising their children, just for keeping God's laws. Keep reading.
Verse 11. and others that had run together into caves nearby.
So we have people running into caves to keep the Sabbath day. Caves. Keep reading.
To keep the Sabbath day secretly.
To keep it secretly because we still want to keep God's laws without getting put to death. So we're like, no, we're going to find a way. I don't care about those laws. I don't care about those decrees. We're going to keep the Sabbath day.
Being discovered to Philip.
Being discovered to Philip. How do y'all think they were discovered to Philip at that time? If it was only Jews there keeping the Sabbath day, how did they find out? Put your hand up. I want to hear. Get it on the mic. See, get to my man over there. Let's see. Stand up and say your name, please, bro.
Hey, shalom, brother Glenn.
Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Most High Christ bless. For a snitch, somebody who infiltrated the
It was a traitor. Yeah. So we had Israelites who were secretly keeping laws with us. That was like, damn, what if they find out? You know what? I'm gonna tell the white man first. So we had people that was amongst us, sitting next to us, eating and drinking with us, that turned us in. So we're gonna have those type of spirits too. Actually, we already have those spirits. That's why they always show the meme with the, with the FBI agent, and he was like, "Here, put your friends on." So we have people among us right now that are traitors. Some are going to become traitors later. That's why the application of God's laws right now are important, because you don't want to, when affliction comes, adversity comes, you revert to what you're used to. You revert to what you normally do. So that's why we got to go hard for God's laws now when we have the leisure to do so. Keep reading.
Being discovered to Philip, were all burnt together.
So everybody besides that, they might have killed a snitch too, because in the book Other 1492, we had people in Spain turning us in, and they thought that they would get off, but they turned us in, and they still got locked up themselves. So we don't know what happened to that person that turned us in, but I'm hoping he got put to death. Keep reading.
Because they had made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day.
So meaning we got put to death because we said to ourselves, no, we're going to keep the Sabbath day. We're going to keep the Feast of Purim. We're going to keep Passover, new moons. Because the thing that we see is a lot of times when it comes to new moons and certain holy days, a lot of people don't show up. But for Purim, where gifts are given, it seems like the whole school was packed. We had kids sitting on the floor like, y'all remember Snake, the old game on the phone? That's what it was like. We had kids lined up everywhere. Man. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Deuteronomy 20 and verse 15. Things written aforetime. Because we teach about the curses for people in the streets and our family members, but we always got to remember these things ourselves, because we're here in captivity too.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15.
And we all come from wickedness. Read that.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Meaning this is going to happen.
to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So let's see. One of the reasons we don't really, I don't think a lot of people really read this scripture, but let's read this, because this is another reason why. Jump to 45. It wasn't just not keeping God's laws. It was we had people who were keeping God's laws, but not with a good heart. Not their mind wasn't in it. They were only doing it because, I guess I'll go keep the dang new moon. I don't want to, but people are gonna say something, so I'll just go. Just like we read in Amos with the brothers who couldn't wait for the feast to be over so they could do evil towards our people. Start at 45.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
Till we be destroyed physically, mentally, spiritually.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Because we didn't listen to the voice, and we continue not to listen to the voice of the Most High God. And we know that's the scriptures. That's how the Most High God talks to us, through the scriptures and through his prophets. Like it says in Luke 10 and 16.
To keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Keep reading.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Get Isaiah 29 and 14.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people.
Let's see the marvelous work that the Most High did to us.
Even a marvelous work and a wonder.
And a wonder.
For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid.
So because we weren't keeping God's commandments, the Most High took away our remembrance, took away our leaders, because we weren't keeping God's laws. So we had to learn a lesson. You're like, you know what? You don't want to keep the laws? Be as the heathen. Be like an African. Be like an Asian. Be like the white man. I'm gonna take away all your memory, and you can live as a Gentile, as a heathen, all you want. But now, all praise to the Most High, He's woken some of us up. That's like a blessing right there for us to be able to know that we're Israel and to have the ability to repent and keep God's laws and have a chance to escape the fire that's coming. That is a very, very big blessing that a lot of us take for granted, because a lot of our family members and friends are still asleep, either by they don't care or the Most High just hasn't put it on their spirit to wake up, or it might not be for them to wake up yet. So we can't take it for granted that He has given us this ability to understand the scriptures. You got something?
Yeah. Go back to 2 Maccabees 6. And remember what he said. Remember he said that they told us we weren't allowed to profess ourselves to be Jews, right? They would kill us if we did, right? Remember, officer just said that that's coming back around. Y'all understand the state that Babylon's in right now, right? Y'all sure? Standing right here. Tell me what's going on with Babylon right now. You, bro. Yeah, you. What's your name, bro? Philip. What's going on right now with the nation of Babylon and other nations?
They realizing that we coming back to the realization that who we are, so they fearing us.
Okay. All right, so what's going on with Russia and China and all that stuff with Babylon? Exactly.
Wars around the world.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So right now it's getting ready to get to a point where you either an American or you're against America, right? That's what it said. We weren't allowed to profess ourselves to be Jews. You had to get down with what the king said to get down with, right? Get down or lay down. That's how America's getting ready to roll. Matter of fact, just give me Esther 13 in the Apocrypha. This is Esther 13, chapter 13. And give me start at verse 4. Now, this is what Haman did. And he wrote this to the king. Now, y'all, like you said, they starting to see us wake up, right? So watch. This is what's happening. This is what's being told to the governments. Because remember, it's either get down with America or lay down. Go ahead.
The rest of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 13 and verse 4. Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
A certain what?
A certain malicious people.
This is what the government agencies is saying about us. Remember, we on the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? They say we're a hate group. We're malicious people. That's what they're saying. Go ahead.
That had laws contrary to all nations.
Don't we have laws contrary to all the nations? Don't our laws contrary all their laws? We say you can't eat shrimp, pork, crab, and lobster. We say you can't celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, all them wicked holidays, correct? Go ahead.
And continually despise the commandments of kings.
We continually despise the commandments of the kings. Homosexuality is against God's law. We go out there on the streets and we tell them that. They say, yes, hate speech. They say, you can't say that. You need to be you need to speak proper. Correct? Go ahead.
So, as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward.
You see that? Get down or lay down. If we don't stop these people from going against your laws, they're talking to the president, right? If we don't stop these people from keeping their laws and going against your laws, we can't go forward, right? Because once the rest of Israel wakes up, and the majority of Israel wakes up, that's a big portion out of America's fighting system. Y'all got it? That's a big portion out of it. Think about this. If Israel stopped and kept the Sabbath, what would happen to America's economy? It will crumble. If we got most of our people on board with keeping the Sabbath day holy, not buying and selling on one day, we will crumble the economy. Those are laws contrary to all nations, despising the commandments of the king. This is what, remember, the script opened up with, this is a certain scattered, malicious people. They call us malicious. Read 5.
Verse 5. Seeing then, we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
He said we're in opposition against all men continually. Go ahead.
Differing in the strange manner of their laws.
Our manner of laws are strange to them. You understand? Wearing our fringes, keeping our feast days holy. Go ahead.
And evil affected to our state.
They consider our way of life evil affecting their state. Go ahead.
Working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
We talk about the downfall of America all the time, don't we? America's got enemies across the world. They getting ready to say, oh, y'all helping the enemies from within. Just like he said, it's either get down or lay down. And guess what? When we start getting persecuted, it's going to be on his terms. We're already in the hate group. They already say, you know what I'm saying, they Anti-Defamation League, right? Y'all see that stuff. So y'all really have to pay attention to what's going on in the world, what's going on with these scripts. And like Officer said, keep these laws and rehearse the righteous acts. Because I'm telling you, y'all, that's y'all covering. But we will be persecuted. Y'all have to really focus on that. We will be persecuted. Men, sisters, persecution come for both of us. Kids, we came on the ships together, right? Don't think they won't touch you, sisters. They used to do y'all dirty in slavery. They still do y'all dirty today. They still do you men dirty. So y'all need to pay attention to this stuff, man, and really, really focus on applying these laws to your life. Who else?
Let's jump back to Deuteronomy 28 and 47. 47. Yep.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 47.
Because, meaning we were cast into slavery, these curses were put on us. Read it from the top again.
Verse 47. Because thou servedest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness.
So it didn't say we weren't serving him for some of us. Some of us served him, but not with joyfulness.
And with gladness of heart.
Some of us served not with gladness of heart.
For the abundance of all things.
So just like a lot of our parents used to say, well, my mom used to say when I was a kid, it was like a lot of our parents' sayings, they got from the Bible, and we just didn't know it until we started reading them. But it was, what you say, if you don't want to do it, if you're not going to do it with a willing heart, don't do it at all. So just like Christians say, the Most High knows our heart, knows your mind. Yeah, he knows your mind if you're really in this for not, if you're really in this for serious, if you really believe in these laws, you believe that you're Israelite and that you have to keep the commandments and that the other nations are not going to be ruling. He knows where your mind is at. So if you're keeping these laws, but in your mind you're thinking and doing and thinking and contrary, Christ sees that. The Most High sees that. So you got to make sure that you really have a love for these scriptures, for the Most High, and for your people. Because if you're doing stuff fake, if you're faking the funk, then Christ is going to deny you. Yep. Let's go to Job 12. Job 12 and 9. The book of Job. Job is a perfect example for all of us. Book of Job, chapter 12.
The book of Job, chapter 12, verse 9. Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this?
Mm-hmm.
In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind.
So it says, who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought all this? Meaning everything on this earth, everything that we see, hear, smell, feel, touch, everything was created by the Most High's hand. Read 10 again.
Verse 10. In whose hand is the soul of every living thing.
So the soul of every living thing, all of our souls are in the hand of the Most High. And what else?
And the breath of all mankind.
And so is our breath. Jump to verse 16.
Verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his.
So the captives and the captors all belong to the Most High God.
He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools.
So he could take anybody from a high stature, high position, and tear them down.
He looseth the bond of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle.
Keep reading.
He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty.
He can overthrow the mighty. So a lot of brothers in this truth or sisters might think, okay, the Most High woke me up. I understand all these scriptures. I'm living life good right now. You know, I can skip second day Purim. I'm fine. The Most High, he dealing with me. It says he can overthrow the mighty. So no matter what your rank is, sister, no matter who you're married to, or you think because you're married to a certain officer or soldier or whatever, that you're above the laws of God. None of us are above the laws of God. Even our forefathers weren't above the laws of God. Moses, David, Solomon, none of them, as great works that they did and as greater they were than us, they still got touched by the Most High God. So none of us are above it, and we're lesser than them. So for our F-ups, best believe we're going to get touched too if we don't take these laws seriously. Keep reading.
Verse 20. He removeth away the speech of the trusty.
He removeth away the speech of the trusty. So brothers, that you might be good with breaking out scriptures, you're eloquent in speech. You take the truth as a joke, the Most High could take that understanding away from you. We've seen it. Keep reading.
and taketh away the understanding of the age.
And taketh away the understanding of the age. That could be physically aged or it could be spiritually aged. We've seen men fall out of this truth and become like worldly people, basically, and worldly people that think they're in the truth. We've seen that happen.
He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness,
Keep reading.
and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations.
So he can increase the nations, like it says in Romans 9, of the same reason I raised thee up, to show my power.
And destroyeth them.
And the same reason he destroyed Egypt, and he's going to destroy America.
He enlargeth the nations, and straighteneth them again. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth.
So we read that in Isaiah 29:14. Read that again.
He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth.
He could take away the understanding of the great leaders on this earth, of great men in this truth, if they don't, if their spirit isn't right and they ain't keeping the laws of God. That can happen.
And causeth them to wander in a wilderness where there is no way.
Keep reading.
They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man.
So all these things are possible for any of us. So we shouldn't take for granted the understanding that we have right now, or take for granted the ability to keep the feast days, the ability to wear our fringes, the ability to whatever law it is that we might take as for granted. As you know what, I'll be the next Sabbath. You know what, my fringes. This is one day. I'm not wearing my fringes. No, these are very serious things. These are things that we didn't do, that God has put into captivity. And not being joyful keeping these things, that got us put in captivity. That's why every new moon you see Deacon Laba really touch on the way people are moving during the feast days. And he jokes about it, but he's really being serious when he says, if I see anybody not smiling or not in the spirit, security kick him out. He's saying that for a reason, because he's trying to get people built up, because on these feast days, it's a commandment to be joyous. We shouldn't be in horrible attitudes on these feast days on the new moons, or not want to come around and congregate with our people. It's a commandment to keep that feast day and to keep it with joy. That's why he mentions that every new moon. He's not saying it just for his health. He's saying it for a reason, for our people. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 119 and 59.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 59. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies.
So King David, he said, I thought on my ways and turned my feet into thy testimonies.
I made haste.
He said, I made haste. Meaning, I get haste definition for me. Keep reading.
I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments.
And he said, I delayed not to keep thy commandments. So we have so many examples of our forefathers taking this law seriously, and foremothers too, for sisters. So we got to take it the same way. Like I said in Romans 15:4, we have to learn from the mistakes and the good things that our forefathers and foremothers have done. Because if not, we're just going to repeat it. And you see, we've been in captivity over and over and over and over again. But we know this is the last hurrah. If we don't get it right this time, you're done. You got that? Yeah, put that up. Haste, excessive speed of urgency or movement or action, to hurry, speed, hurry, swiftness, rapidity. I never heard that one before. Quickness, rushing, expedition, promptitude, quickly, rapidly, fast, in a rush. So we got to keep that same urgency with God's laws. Like when you go home, you get to those steps, or you get to drive when you got to use the bathroom, and you feel like rush. As soon as you get there, you run to the bathroom. That's how we got to be with God's laws. That's how we got to be, because if not, that's when Satan can creep in. When we don't take these laws seriously, Satan can creep in. When you don't take it seriously, when the brothers at work flirting with you, when the sisters give you the eye at work, you're not taking it seriously. You just, okay, yeah, thank you. And you leaving the door open. You cannot leave the door open for any type of sin, because that sin is going to try to grow on you. And Satan will jump on you. So you got to make sure that we making haste to keep God's laws, and we're harshly rebuking or rejecting any type of wicked thoughts or actions that we see or might be coming upon us or upon our minds. We can't play with those type of things. Let's go to Sirach 5 and 7. Sirach 5 and 7. We can't play with it, man, because sin got us where we are today. Sin got us raped, buck broken, children thrown off ships, thrown to alligators, torn in half. We're getting torn in half by horses, getting cleaved with axes from our genitalia to our head. That's what sin got us. Yeah, that is what sin got us, and If we don't repent, that same pain will be waiting for us. But the thing is, we're going to see that second death too, because a lot of us, the majority of us, are going to see that first death. But the second death, that's the one that we don't want to get, that eternal damnation. So a lot of us are going to die. Some might die from famine, some from old age, some from physical torture. But at the end of the day, we still got to endure through those things, because if not, then that second death will be much, much worse. Like it says in Matthew, we can't fear those that can kill body. We got to fear the one that can kill our soul, and that's Christ and the Most High. What's that, Sirach? Yeah, Sirach 5 and 7. Get that?
Yes, sir. The book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
So it says, don't delay. Don't say, okay, let me go, before I put my frienders on, let me go and, because we'll see people at camp all the time or in the streets, and they'll say, oh, I don't have any dresses, or I don't have fringes. I've seen people, sisters turn pants into dresses. I've seen brothers cut their shirt into fringes and get the ribbon. They might not be able to afford the good fringes, but they'll cut fringes in their shirt and just get a ribbon. Yeah, that's how a lot of brothers started. That's how officers started. I've actually seen a brother with a blue marker. He didn't have the ribbon yet, but he put a blue marker around his shirt. I'm not saying that what's he calling me? I'm not saying that'll satisfy numbers 15 and 38, but I'm saying he had the zeal so much that he just wanted to get something down before he got his actual fringes.
There was a brother that had bobby pinned.
Yeah.
Bobby pinned the ribbon of blue around his shirt.
Was that the one that was fresh out? Was that the?
Fresh out.
I remember. Yeah,
couldn't sew.
I remember.
He put the bobby pins in the joint, had it around his shirt.
Damn,
he had the zeal.
That's the zeal that we gotta have for God's laws. Keep reading.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
Don't push the keeping of God's laws to the next day. The next day, say, okay, I'll stop cheating my wife that day. I'll stop eating pork next week. I'll stop watching porn tomorrow. I'll stop beating my wife. I'll stop cheating on my husband. Whatever it is, don't put those sins off. Oh, I'll stop wearing pants, so-and-so. Right now, these are a good pair of pants. I just bought them. I'm going to get my money out of them. No. Or brothers, if you have some brothers might have the ability to not shave their beard at work, but because you don't want to ask for that exemption, you just go along with it. We've had brothers in security who have gotten exemptions. You might have to have your beard super, super low, but at least you got it still. At least you got it. You don't got to have the big, well, mine's not even bushy. You don't got to have the big bushy beard that says not to go against I don't want to butcher it. Get that, Leviticus? Yeah. I don't get the words right. I was about to say go against the grain. That's not what it says. Let's read that in Leviticus. Yeah, Mar.
No, it's the wrong one.
27.
Yes, sir. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads. Neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
So that's a commandment. It doesn't say neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard unless you work for the government, unless you work for security. It don't say that. It says thou shalt not do it. So if you're in a position where you have to do that, try to, we have the opportunities. We have the letters from the church. They have exemptions. Look for a new job in the meantime. You got to strive your best to keep God's laws. Everybody has to take care of their family. We understand that, but you still have to put God's laws above everything else. So in the meantime, if you are stuck in a job, which might be putting you in sin, such that you might have to wear pants, see if they can let you wear a dress. Find the exemption. See if not, look for something that can allow you to do that. Or if you don't have that right now, as soon as you get off work, bring a change of clothes, change it to your dress. Brothers, try to get that letter or exemption, that religious exemption to say, hey, I need to keep my beard.
Hey, real quick, look up the definition of mar. Y'all already know that's not a normal word.
Negro word.
Negro word that we use. Go ahead, look up mar and look at the similarities.
Synonyms.
Similar words, you know what I mean?
That's okay. I can't speak either.
Bobby line. It says to impair the appearance of, disfigure, spoil, ruin, impair, disfigure, flaw, blemish, scar, mutilate. Mutilate, that's a heavy word right there. Deface, deform. So it says thou shalt not mar the corners of thy beard, right? Yep, mar
Mutilate.
the corners of thy beard.
And brothers be looking mutilated when they shave their beards. Their face look crazy. Look like what's that joint called? Nestle Crunch.
Yeah, like brothers in the military, right? Jake that's in the military, It's easier for them to get a shaving profile because only black men in the military go through that where their face bump up all crazy and stuff because we weren't never meant to shave our faces off. Understand that. You know what I'm saying? That was not something that we were meant to do. I've seen plenty of brothers look like Nestle Crunch on their face because then they shave their face, their beard off, and now they got to go to a dermatologist and all this extra stuff. You're not supposed to mutilate your beard. That means cutting in your natural line. Whatever your natural line is on your face, you leave it there. If you're cutting out of your natural line, you're bringing it down and making a chin strap, you're mutilating your beard.
That goatee?
Yeah.
Man, I got a cousin in the Marines. He actually, because his face was getting messed up, so he actually got the laser surgery to remove his follicles. So now he don't grow hair at all because he got his joints laserly? Surgically removed. Yeah, surgical laser, yeah. All right, Sirach 15. Oh, did we finish 7? Nah, keep reading. We didn't finish that. Read that again?
Yes, sir. The book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
Why?
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth.
Your judgment could come forth. You can get a heart attack, get hit by a car, catch an STD if you living wrong, if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. Anything can happen. You can break your leg. Somebody, you can get hit by a stray bullet. The Most High judgments comes in a numerous amount of ways. We don't know how we're going to die or how we could be touched or afflicted. But it says you better be keeping the laws because we don't know when the wrath of the Lord could come. Keep reading.
And in thy security.
And in that security, meaning you thinking you're good not keeping God's laws. You thinking you good putting it off. I'll do it eventually. I got mercy. I'll pray for repentance. He going to forgive me for this sin. Yeah, I got time. I got time today, cuz. Keep reading.
And in thy security.
In your false sense of security, that's what it should say.
Thou shalt be destroyed.
You will be destroyed. So that's the first death. Keep reading.
And perish.
And perish.
In the day of vengeance.
And in the day of vengeance.
The scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know your history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance for time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, whine. Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me not go back, nor retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want to me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life, I swear the damn thing.
All right, let's play that first video, Unstoppable. Start at 1:45. All right, you can stop. So pretty much like I said, what they doing, man, it's a motivational video, man. So like a lot of these guys, they motivate, they talk about how you're in your own head. You're the reason why you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're the reason why you're not at where you're not where you're supposed to be. And that's true when it comes to our people. We are the ones stepping on our own shoes. You know what I'm saying? Stopping ourselves, tripping our own selves up. You know what I mean? And you got other people out there that are doing it in wickedness, right? They're stopping you. They're blocking you up. You got the heathen who's trying to stop you, but you're defeating yourself. You're helping them out defeat yourself. So we got to get out of the mindset of being lazy, have some discipline, keep the laws, because you can't keep the laws if you ain't got discipline. You understand?
Y'all have to have some discipline about yourselves in order to apply these laws of God. Y'all got me?
All right, let's go to 1 Samuel 2. 1 Samuel 2, and let's start at 3. Let's start at 2.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
There is none holy as the Lord, and there is none beside thee. Neither is there any rock like our God.
Uh-huh.
Talk no more so exceeding proudly.
The Most High God said, talk no more exceeding proudly. I mean, he doesn't want to hear. He's been hearing our mouthpieces for years and years and generations. So, I love you, Lord. I'm going to repent. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Even back in, we're going to get that later in Judges. We've been talking a good game, but our actions haven't supported that. Our steps haven't supported that. Our rehearsals that we're supposed to be doing hasn't supported that. We're not even showing up to practice. It's not that we're not practicing, we're not even showing up to practice. Some people show up in BS. Some people don't even show up to the feast days. Keep reading.
Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth.
Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, because a lot of us will say, oh, I will never do that. You know, that brother wicked as heck. This is the wickedest heck. Oh, I can never do that. You're supposed to pray that the Most High don't put that spirit on you, because spirits could jump on anybody, a lying spirit, a murderous spirit, an adulterous spirit. Any spirit could jump on any of us at any time. We can't control that. The only thing we control is the keeping of God's laws to make our temple ready for that when the temptation comes. So you can't. So when somebody falls and you say, that brother wicked as hell, man, I can't believe he did that. Be careful, because that spirit could jump on you and your life could be ruined. You could do the same thing that brother did, or the same thing that sister did. That's why we can't let that arrogancy come out of our mouth. Because why?
For the Lord is a God of knowledge.
The Lord is a God of knowledge, meaning of the commandments. That's all that. That's the only thing we're going to be measured by. Not by what we say, not by what we think is right, but by the commandments.
And by him, actions are weighed.
And by him are actions are weighed. That's how we're going to be judged, by what we do. Keep reading.
The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength.
Jump to read that again.
Verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength. So
people who are at this time, the bows of mighty men are broken, meaning somebody could be a beast archer, but if his bow is broken, he good for nothing. And it says they that stumbled are girded with strength. You could be able to lift 500 pounds, but you can get knocked over. Keep reading. And it's going to go in to show that a lot of our physical attributes, things that we do, mean nothing in comparison of what the Most High can do to us or can change.
Verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
They that were full have hired out themselves for bread.
Damn, those that was rolling in the dough, now they got to work in the streets just to eat. That's gone. The wealth they had is gone now. They was trusting in that and not keeping God's laws.
And they that were hungry ceased.
And they that were hungry are dead. Keep reading.
So that the barren hath borne 7,
mm-hmm.
and she that hath many children is waxed feeble.
So there could be people that might not be able to have children. All of a sudden, she's having twins and triplets. And what about the other one?
And she that hath many children
and she who was fertile
is waxed feeble.
Now she's barren. Keep reading.
The Lord killeth and maketh alive.
The Lord kills and he makes alive. He picks what souls to leave the earth and what souls to come back.
He bringeth down to the grave, and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor, and maketh rich.
So he could change your financial situation.
He bringeth low, and lifteth up.
Keep reading.
He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he has set the world upon them.
So verse 9 is going to show what is the criteria for these good things to happen to you or these bad things to happen to you.
He will keep the feet of his saints.
So he will keep the feet of his saints, meaning he's going to keep his commandment keepers. He's going to keep them in a position that's going to be well for them. But what?
And the wicked shall be silent in darkness.
But the wicked, they're going to be going through it repeatedly. And that's not saying that if you keep the commandments that everything is going to be 100% honky-dory for you, because no, we are going to have trials. But the Most High is still going to look after you and bless you if you're keeping his laws. For by what?
For by strength shall no man prevail.
For by our own carnal thoughts, our own carnal actions, whatever we think might be right and may be wrong, that doesn't matter. What it says in the scriptures is right or wrong. That's what we got to remember. So that's why it says he will keep the feet of his saints, but the wicked who aren't trying to keep God's laws, who aren't practicing, who aren't rehearsing, they're going to be in darkness. And it could be darkness now, or you might be living good now in darkness when the time comes for your soul to be judged. It could be then. Jump to, what time we got? 30. Okay. Let's jump to Joshua 1 and 16. Book of Joshua. Yeah, Joshua 1 and 16. Because we all got to be in order. Man, woman, boy, child. We all got orders.
The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do. And
so, read that again.
And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do.
So why do y'all think these men were saying that? Was Joshua teaching his own thing or making up commandments of men? No. What was he teaching? What was he having them follow? The laws of God. All right, keep reading.
And whithersoever thou sendest us, we will go, according as we hearkened unto Moses in all things.
According as we hearken unto Moses in all things. So we gotta have that faith and steadfastness. When the leadership is giving us counsel and giving us things to do, whether it be orders and whether it be showing up to the school, whether it be prepping or even working out, losing weight, what else? Proving. Whatever it is they give us, we got to make sure to follow these things, because if we don't, we're not listening to the orders and the counsel that the men who the Most High have set up are given. That applies to all of us. That applies to me. We all got to do the thing, because if not, we're going to be lacking in something if we're not following through with those things. So we all got stuff to work on, so we all got to make sure that we're following these things, because if not, we're going to see what happens.
According as we hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee as he was with Moses.
So these men knew that the Most High God was moving with Joshua like he was moving with Moses. And that's why they said, we will do all that thou commandest us, we will do.
Verse 18. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandments.
So I'm going to preface this. We're not doing this at this time, but this judgment will be brought out by the Most High God, not by us. So read.
Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death.
He shall be put, or she shall be put to death. Keep reading.
Only be strong and of a good courage.
Landed on a positive note. Be strong and of a good courage, because not following orders gets people put to death all the time. It might be bad for the congregation. It might be something bad might happen to your children. Something bad might happen to you. You don't follow counsel with as far as the sister and leadership telling you, no, you let the sister chill for a while. She's not ready yet. You prove her. You end up with a dragon. Now you live in a hell. You live in a hell in your household. You got a dragon in your household. You on the rooftop. Or sisters, it's been brought up many times. You deal with a brother who's not ready and you go against leadership orders. Now you find out that brother touching your child because you didn't follow counsel. Now you got a pedophile in your household. What we got?
Yeah, we got examples in our history too. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 5 and start at 55. It's just an example of not following orders and getting yourself put to death. What? 155? Yeah. 1 Maccabees 5:55. My bad.
All right. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 5, verse 55. Now, what time as Judas and Jonathan were in the land of Galaad, and Simon his brother in Galilee before Ptolemaeus, Joseph the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the garrisons, heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which they had done.
Now these men right here, Zacharias and Azarias, captains of the garrison. So what? They had rank, right? There was some men who had rank who were trusted with the garrison, right? Go ahead. They heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which Judas and his brothers had did. So go ahead, see what these brothers did.
Wherefore they said, let us also get us a name and go fight against the heathen that are round about us.
They were self-willed. Go ahead.
So, when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went toward Jamnia. Then came Gorgias and his men out of the city to fight against them. And so it was that Joseph and Azarias were put to flight and pursued unto the borders of Judea. And there were slain that day of the people of Israel about 2,000 men.
So not only did they get themselves killed, they got 2,000 men of Israel put to death because they went against the orders. It's going to tell you. Go ahead. Read that in 61.
Thus was there a great overthrow among the children of Israel.
Why?
Because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren. Because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren.
Because it was already put out that y'all don't go fight without us. You understand? These guys heard the warlike stories. Was like, just like a lot of brothers, you know, they'll sometimes they come in, they see the YouTube videos, they like, man, I want to go out there and teach. You know what I'm saying? I got the zeal. I'm going to go out here and teach everybody. They go out there and get themselves put to death. Spiritually, sometimes physically. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all got to understand that this is set up. You have to follow. You have to be able to apply. And you have to be obedient to the orders. Because read 61 again.
Verse 61. Thus was there a great overthrow among the children of Israel, because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren.
They didn't listen to their leadership. Their leadership told them, do not do this. They said, you know what? We heard all the dope stories. We seen you on YouTube. I could do that too. Went out there and got their ass put to death. And not only just themselves, 2,000 other men. So what that tell you? You got to be careful, man, who you seek counsel from. All right? Because them 2,000 men went with them because they was captains. They was captains of the garrison. They was men of renown. Somebody should have checked them and said, hold on, hey, Judas and them said we ain't supposed to go out here and do this. Right?
Yes, sir.
So you got to understand this. If you don't follow counsel, more than likely you will be put to death. And that goes, that's it and that's all. Like, you will be put to death if you're not following counsel. Because your leadership has your best interest in their heart. Go ahead.
But thought to do some valiant act.
They thought to do some. They thought.
Their spirit wasn't even in the right spirit.
Nah. They said, you know what? We're going to make a name for ourselves. I'm going to be famous. Put on this garment. I'm going to go out here and teach these scripts. I'm going to yell at a couple scoffers. I'm a trash Islam in front of 100 Muslims, and it's only me and this brother right here. Boy, you crazy as hell. You don't know how to read the room. You're not smart at all. You know what I mean? So
no wisdom.
It's just like, yo, we have to follow what our leadership puts out. They have the blueprint. They've been doing it for years. All right? Trust the process. Don't be out here being self-willed and doing your own thing.
Get Joshua 8 and 34. Yeah, because I'm hoping it's not going on now, but before, we had people who was congregating at the school, and we had people inviting people over to their house for the feast days when the school is open. Out of order. All right, read Joshua 8 and 34.
The book of Joshua, chapter 8, verse 34.
Uh-huh.
And afterward, he read all the words of the law,
Uh-huh.
the blessings and cursings.
And the cursings.
According to all that is written in the book of the law.
So we got to think, when we have this Bible, like we got the ultimate playbook. We got the full scouting report. We got the offense, the defense, the special teams. We even got the coaches. We know what they dealing with. We got the what else? We got the trainer staff. We got the what they called? The trainers, strength and conditioning coaches. We literally have everything here in this book. So it's no excuse for us not to follow it. We have examples of good, examples of bad, what to do, what not to do. Like, everything is what happens to us when we follow the commandments, what happens to us when we don't keep the commandments. That's why I said the blessings and the cursings. This is like the what's that joint called from Back to the Future? The sports almanac. This is basically like the sports almanac from Back to the Future. We got the beginning, we got the past, present, and future literally in this book. Keep reading.
Verse 35.
Uh-huh.
There was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel.
So he made sure to tell them everything that Moses commanded. He didn't leave not one thing out.
With the women, and so, yeah, the congregation of Israel, and the women, and the little ones.
Where'd the little girl go? She left? Oh, okay. And the kids.
and the strangers that were conversant among them.
And even the heathens among us who had to keep the laws, they had to be in order too. So if they had to be in order, dang for sure, we got to be in order too. Go to John 15 and 20. John 15 and 20. Yeah, the Bible, that's like that Patriot scouting report when they had the video cameras. Like, we literally got everything. John 15. Let's see what Christ got to say. We got the almanac. We got the scouting report. We know that the coach's having trouble at home. We got all that.
The book of John, chapter 15, verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord.
Meaning we're not greater than Christ. None of us are greater than Christ. And he's not greater than the Most High.
If they have persecuted me,
if Christ was persecuted,
they will also persecute you.
We're going to be persecuted too. These things are going to happen.
If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also.
So even meaning if they kept the same where it was prophesied of Christ dying on the cross, Christ suffering in Esdras and in Revelation of the scriptures, when we get persecuted, thrown in prison and put to death, that's going to happen too.
Verse 21. But all these things they will do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me.
Talking about the Most High. Keep reading.
If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin.
So if Christ hadn't came to die for our sins, to show us how to live accordingly, like it says in 1 Peter 2, he lived with no guile in his mouth and no sin. He showed us the example of how to do it right.
But now they have no cloak.
Now read that. They had not.
If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not sinned. But now we have what? They have no cloak for their sin.
We have no cloak or protection for our sins anymore. Christ came and died. He lived as a man. He got tortured. He had evil spoken to him. He got tortured before he got put to death. He had his own people trying to kill him all the time, and Christ used to get loose on him. He had to go through that. He got locked up. So we're going to go through the same thing. So we got no excuse now. No excuse at all. And he knew what was going to happen to him before he came down here. So we got no excuse at all. That's why this little grace period we have now, we shouldn't be abusing that at all, like how the Christian church does. We shouldn't think we covered by the blood. I'm going to keep praying for forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness until that day comes and, I'm going to repent on the last hour. No, we can't live like that. Just like if somebody, sisters, if you're married to your husband and he beats you every day until the last day before he dies, would you think he loved you ever? No. Brothers, if you were married and well, it shouldn't be this way in the truth, but if, say, hypothetically, you're in the world and your wife cheats on you every day until the day she dies, and one day she doesn't cheat on you, did she ever love you? No. Hell no. Yeah, exactly. Hell no. So we're not keeping the commandments up until the day that we die. Do we truly love Christ?
No, sir.
Not at all. If we're keeping abusing that, we don't love Christ. That our actions are showing that. Go to Judges 2. Judges 2. This is a perfect example of Israel, man, just talking a good game. Talking a real good game. Which one? Judges 2, and let's where we starting at? Start at 1.
The book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 1. And an angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and have brought you unto the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you.
So the Most High God don't break his word. He don't break his covenants. But we continuously break our covenant towards the Lord.
And ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land.
As a commandment, he said, ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Keep reading.
Ye shall throw down their altars.
Destroy their altars.
But ye have not obeyed my voice.
We not listening again.
Why have ye done thus? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides.
It's okay. You want to be in leagues with them? I'm going to lead them right there with you. Keep reading.
And their God shall be a snare unto you. And it came to pass, when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept.
Now we want to cry to the Most High God. Now we want to do it, even though He been told us what to do. But Israel, we always, that's what it says in Hosea, either 4:16 or 5:15. I was getting confused. Basically, in our affliction, we're going to seek the Most High God early. When we get punished, that's when we pray to the Most High God. Back in the world, when y'all used to get drunk at the club, oh, I'll never drink again. The next day, you're doing the same damn thing again. Like, it's always when we're messed up, that's when you want to not say, I'm not going to do this again. Like, that's how we are as a people, and we got to get over that. Keep reading.
Verse 5. And they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord.
So now we're trying to get back right with the Lord. But let's see if we really are honest and our mind is in this. Keep reading.
And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua.
Woo! We serving the Lord. All praises.
And all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua.
Damn.
Who had seen all the great works of the Lord, that he did for Israel.
Okay, keep reading.
And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance.
Jump to 10.
Verse 10. And also all that generation that were gathered unto their fathers.
Uh-oh.
And there arose another generation after them.
Uh-oh.
Which knew not the Lord.
Damn, we went right back. Keep reading.
Nor yet the works which he had done for Israel.
So it says, and there arose another generation after them which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. So it wasn't just cold turkey. We just stopped sacrificing. We stopped keeping the laws, and we stopped keeping the commandments. It happened a little bit at a time. We was getting headed away till we fully weren't believing in the Most High God at all. That's how sin works. That's how keeping God's laws work. If you're constantly letting little sins creep in, it's going to evolve into a bigger sin. If you're slowly not keeping the commandments, okay, I'm not going to correct him there. This little laws that we think are little, and we let them pass by, it's going to go into us breaking even bigger commandments, if that makes sense.
Real question, real quick. How many of y'all have kids? Who has children? Whew. That joke says another generation arose up after them. So what that mean? That they weren't teaching that next generation, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the scriptures tell you to do what? Train up a child, correct? So it's real important these days that y'all are training y'all children up in these laws of God, because it's easy, as you see Israel
like
not
that.
training up the next generation, and guess what? They do evil in the sight of the Lord. That's what we don't need. That's why we have this. So that's why the first scripture was things written aforetime were written for your learning. You're supposed to be reading this like he's reading right here and say, dang, I need to train up my child so that next generation don't become wicked and do evil in the sight of the Lord. Y'all got it? All right.
Keep reading.
Verse 11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
So now we right back doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And what?
And served Baalim.
Damn. Keep reading.
And they forsook the Lord, God of their fathers,
Man.
which brought them out of the land of Egypt.
So the Most High God that delivered us out of Egypt, what do we do?
And followed other gods of the gods of the people that were round about them.
Round about them. But remember, back in verse 2, it said make no league with them. But because the generations, as it kept going, we kept intermingling. We was marrying them. They was marrying our daughters, marrying our sons. So now we following their gods. Keep reading.
Of the gods of the people that were round about them.
They round about us because we dealing with them. That's why they were round about us.
And bowed themselves unto them.
Damn, now we bound to their idols.
And provoked the Lord to anger. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Asherah.
So we was keeping Easter and those wicked holidays back then too.
And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel.
The what?
The anger of the Lord was hot against Israel.
So the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel because what? Those generations, they weren't rehearsing and practicing those laws. They weren't rehearsing the acts to teach the children, like it says in Deuteronomy. They fell off on that. And because they fell off, that that ripple effect or that butterfly effect or whatever, you see where we at now. Now we back in wickedness all over again. Keep reading.
And he delivered them into the hands of spoilers.
So because that, we got delivered into our enemies.
That spoiled them.
But remember, Do we pass that? No, keep reading. Keep reading.
And he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about.
And Joshua just recently, a couple generations ago, repeated this, the blessings and the cursings. But those things didn't get passed down for the generations. What would happen to us? Keep reading.
So that they could not any longer stand before their enemies.
Damn, so now we losing all our battles now. Keep reading.
Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord had said, and as the Lord has sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed.
Because remember, we read in the 1 Samuel, the Most High God controls life and death. He can take us up or put us down. So because we've been wicked again, he made sure that what it says in verse 15, wheresoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil. So everything that we did, we tried to do, the Most High God had them evil spirits and evil angels there to mess us up. Keep reading.
Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges.
So even in the midst of that, he what?
Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them.
Keep reading.
And yet they would not hearken unto their judges.
So he tried to give us a way out, and we still wanted to be wicked. The Most High has said, set up the bishops, the deacons, the captains, and the officers. He set that up, but we still want to go away from what they're saying. Keep reading.
But they went a-whoring after other gods.
But we still went a-whoring after other gods, because when we're dealing with other religions and other gods, that's spiritual fornication, because we're supposed to be married to who? I guess sister don't know. Okay, Christ. All praises, brothers. Okay, keep reading.
And bowed themselves unto them.
Damn.
They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so.
That's it. So just showing just the up and down and back and forth with our people, because they weren't practicing, they weren't rehearsing the righteous acts of the Lord. So just from that, a couple generations, and we in wickedness again. And that can happen within a lifetime. We've seen people who were strong brothers in this truth, and within a matter of months, they've gone back in the world again. That can happen to any one of us. That's why we got to take these feast days seriously.
Hey, real quick, read 16 again.
Verse 16. Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them.
You're looking at today, right? All y'all brothers and sisters that came into the truth, and that's here in IUIC DC and IUIC period, right? The Lord has given y'all judges. The men who are at the table, the men who are leading the congregation, they are your judges. They are the ones the Lord has sent to help you up out of this spoiled estate, which is Babylon, right? Right? This is the place where they're spoiling you, oppressing you, killing us, and everything like that, right? The Lord's giving y'all judges. Read 17.
Verse 17. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges.
And yet and still, people in the congregation, brothers and sisters, still won't listen to the men that's been set up above them. You know, they give you counsel about proving a brother and sister, and you might be older than the man up here. I ain't got to listen to him. I'm older than him. Nah, you not in the truth, not in the spirit. You may be older in age and worldliness, but not in the spirit. But you take your worldly mind and you say, you know what? I don't got to listen to the man that's been up here for 10 years, 12 years, speaking on stuff that he's seen the whole time he's been in the truth. That's your way out. But you still want to, yet you would not hearken unto their judges. You would not hearken unto your judges. And that's an issue that we deal with in Israel, because we still have them worldly thoughts, right? He's too young. He can't tell me what to do. He's older than you in the truth. He should be able to tell you what to do if you're righteous, if you're applying the laws of life, obeying them that had the rule over you. Y'all understand?
Yes, sir.
It's important, man, because we have to get out. Like Christ said to Nicodemus, come as a child, right? You gotta be ready to come as a child, be taught all over again. So all the thoughts about the man tell you what to do with the finance, give you the best counsel to do with your finance, you like, hell with that. I know what to do. Obviously you don't. Because the world ain't set you up right. You ain't doing good in the world. You come in here and you think that, you can bring the worldly stuff into the truth and it's going to translate. It's not. Because everything in the world that you learned was wicked. Y'all got it?
Sure.
So that's very deep that y'all listen to that.
Jump to Esther 16 and 22. 16 and 22, we're going to read 23. We got 12 minutes left, so Soldier Baja, we're gonna hit our 4-minute blitz.
Yes, sir. 16, 22.
Yeah, 16, the Apocrypha.
Yes, sir. The rest of Esther, chapter 16 and verse 22.
Uh-huh.
Ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts keep it.
So ye shall, this is a commandment. Read it again.
Ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts keep,
Among your solemn feasts,
keep it in high day with all feasting.
keep it in the high day with all feasting. Yeah, it's not a Sabbath, but it's still a feast day. It's still a high holy day we got to keep. We've been commanded to keep. Keep reading.
That both now and hereafter
That both now, meaning at this time, and hereafter, even up till today,
there may be safety to us.
there may be safety to us coming together with the like-minded commandment keepers. This is our safety. This is our safe haven, is being with other righteous Israelites and keeping God's laws. That's what's going to strengthen us and get us ready for these times to come. Keep reading.
And the well-affected Persians, but to those which do conspire against us, a memorial of destruction.
So when we keep this feast day for us, we will still remember this a memorial of destruction for them. And these heathens, that at that time, it was a memorial of destruction to them too. Because a lot of the people today, they don't know who their biblical counterparts are. The upper echelons know, but the majority of people don't know that when we're keeping Feast of Purim, or the ones that do know about Purim, I should say, they don't know it's talking about them. And really, the only people that keep Purim properly are us, the Israelites. I don't even hear even the Jewish people don't even. I don't think they try to fake keep it. I haven't heard that. Let's go to Sirach 33. 33 and 7. 33 and 7. Because this is the day the Most High set apart for us to keep. We want to tell people, oh, you got to keep the Sabbath day, oh, you got to keep the new moon, but we're not even keeping Purim. So we looking like a whole bunch of hypocrites. We can't be rolling like the Pharisees, man. We can't be doing that. Sirach 33 and 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 7. Why doth one day excel another? When as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun.
So what makes days of the year differently when they all look the same? The sun rises, the sun sets, the moon come out, the stars come out. What makes them different?
By the knowledge of the Lord.
By the commandments of God.
They were distinguished.
That's what separates certain days.
And he altered seasons and feasts.
So he altered seasons and feast days. The Feast of Purim to be kept for 2 days.
Some of them hath he made high days.
The Feast of Purim was made a high day.
And hallowed them.
And he made it holy and special.
And some of them hath he made ordinary days.
And today's just an ordinary day. So we got to make sure to keep these feast days, the Most High's feast days he set apart for us, that he's keeping. We got to damn for sure be keeping them days too. Go to 2nd Ezra 7 and 59. 2nd Ezra 7 and 59. Like I said, the Bible is like the sports almanac. Life and death has been set before us. All the things, all the pitfalls, all the ways to be prosperous, like I said in Joshua 1 and 8, has all been set before us. We just got to follow the steps that's in there.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 59.
And this is referencing, where are we at? Deuteronomy 30. So to show that, we're going to read that. Let's read it.
Verse 59. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived.
So like when Moses spoke to our people in Deuteronomy 30.
Saying, choose thee life.
Choose thee life, meaning choose keeping God's commandments. Choose rehearsing the righteous acts.
That thou mayest live.
That you may live. That you may live eternally. Keep reading.
Nevertheless.
They
believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him.
So we didn't believe Moses. Some people didn't believe the prophets after him.
Nor me, which have spoken unto them.
Nor Ezra, they didn't believe him either.
That there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation.
Real quick, get Luke 10 and 16. I want to show the importance of us not believing in the prophets that were sent before us, whether it be Moses, Isaiah, Ezra, or believing the prophets that the Most High God gets set up right now. We don't want to listen to what the bishops and deacons got to say or the captains got to say. We don't want to hear that. Let's see where our mind is really at. Luke 10 and 16. Read that real quick.
The book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 16. He that heareth you, heareth me.
So anybody speaking out of the Bible through the scriptures, you're hearing Christ through that man.
And he that despiseth you, despiseth me.
And if you despise what that prophet is saying, what that captain, deacon, or bishop is saying, you despising Christ.
And he that despiseth me, despiseth him that sent me.
Meaning you hate and despise the Most High God when you don't listen to godly counsel or discourse that comes out of the scriptures. Whether you see it as that or not, that's what it is. And you despising it isn't you saying, oh, I despise that, I don't like that. You despising it is not following that. That's what despising it is, because you're totally ignoring, you're being oblivious to what was told to you. All right, jump. Let's get Judges 5 and 11 again. I'm going to bring back the point on that.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers and the places of drawing water.
So those that are going to be saved from the missiles.
There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
There we have to rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. That's the condition to be saved. Just like, you have contracts and clauses. For this to happen, you have to do this. So for us to be saved, we have to be practicing the righteous acts of the Lord. There's no way around that. There's no way around coming to the school for 3 days to keep Nicanor, Sabbath, and Purim. It was 1 year when we had, I think, like three Sabbaths. Like we had like a double or triple Sabbath. I think we had a triple Sabbath one time. There's no way around that. You got to keep it. You got to prepare for it. There's no way around that. Is that it?
Even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel.
Okay, jump to Psalms. No, we got time for that. Go to James 2 and 20.
The book of James, chapter 2, verse 20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
So faith without works is dead. So it don't matter how much you think you love Christ, you love the Most High God, or leadership, Bishop Nathaniel, Deacon Malachi, I love you. Yes, you're such a wise man. But the counsel they give, you don't want to listen to it. That's all just vain. That's all just a whole bunch of talking. The same way we treated the Most High God. There's no point you saying all these sayings and giving reverence to these men if you're not going to listen to them. It don't mean S-H-I-T. Read that again.
But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
Faith without works is dead. So you're saying you believe in Christ. You having faith that you're Israelite. Without you keeping the commandments is dead, meaning what? You're going to be dead. That's what that means. Keep reading.
Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar?
Abraham was justified for his works, for doing that, for following what the angel told him to do, besides what his feelings was at the time. He had to do it regardless. Keep reading.
Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect?
And by works, by his practicing, by his rehearsal, was his faith made perfect. That's how we're going to get to that game day, meaning when we get to the kingdom. That's how we get to that day. We got to get through those two halves. We got to get through make it through the nukes and make it through the wilderness. In order for us to make that first and second half to get eternal life, we got to be rehearsing these righteous acts of the Lord. Go to Revelation 2 and 26. We got 4 minutes. Revelation 2 and 26. Let's see what Christ has to say about works.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 26.
Uh-huh.
And he that overcometh.
So he that overcometh.
And keepeth my works until the end.
And keepeth my works unto the end. Meaning what? We've been doing this since we figured out we was an Israelite. We got to keep those works from that day we find out until we die or until Christ returns. Meaning what? Practice is never going to stop. Even the wilderness practice isn't going to stop. Because that's what we're going to get retaught. So we're going to constantly be learning. So if we can't do it now under men, how are we going to do it under Christ? That's why it says in Matthew, let's get that if you're not believed in Moses. Yeah, get that real quick. Yeah, 5:45 and 46. Oh. Yeah.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 45.
Uh-huh.
That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust.
John. Yeah, John 45. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The book of John, chapter 5, verse 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust.
Uh-huh.
For had ye believed Moses.
So had we believed in Moses, or had we believed in what the leadership today is bringing out,
ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings.
So if we can't believe and listen to what the prophets are saying and what the leadership is saying,
how shall ye believe my words?
How are we going to listen to what Christ is in the wilderness if we can't listen to men now who are speaking Christ's words? The leadership is a mouthpiece for Christ. That's it. So if you can't believe somebody reading verbatim what Christ told us to do, how are you going to believe Christ when he shows up? You've already been ignoring his words. So is it going to be different when he's there? No. You see it all the time. You see like in school. If kids don't listen to the teacher, the damn sure not going to listen to the principal. They're going to treat them with the same respect. You see kids put hands on principals. You see kids disrespect teachers, principals, and their parents. So if they're not listening to somebody in the least, you're not going to follow something in the greatest either. It's not going to translate. The discipline got to start at an early stage. That's where it has to start at. So read that again, the last part.
Verse 47.
Yep.
But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words?
And Moses wrote about a lot of commandments for us to keep, a lot of feast days. The other prophets wrote about stuff for us to keep. But if we're not keeping them properly, if we're not keeping them with joyfulness and gladness of heart, how are we going to listen to Christ when he comes? Because Christ, he's going to be repeating the same things and teaching us and then some, even more things we're going to learn. So now, because you weren't practicing the first playbook we got, when Christ comes and he got the ultimate playbook, how are you're going to be way behind. You're going to be trying to catch up, and you're going to say something or think something, and you're going to be put to death. Get us Sirach 19. We wrapping up. We got 2 scriptures left. Sirach 19 and 19.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
So the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. And they that do, D-O, those that do those things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. A.K.A. keeping the commandments will get us eternal life. Read verse 20.
Verse 20. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom. And in all wisdom is the performance of the law.
And in all wisdom is the performance of the law. But in order to perform, you have to be rehearsing and practicing. You can't perform if you're just trying to do something all willy-nilly. It don't work that way. If you're an athlete or if you're a musician or if you're some type of artist and you just try to do stuff willy-nilly without practicing your craft, it's not going to work. You're going to lay an egg or est the bed. keep reading.
And the
kids I can't curse.
And the knowledge of his omnipotency.
All right. Revelation 22. I'm trying to keep it PG. You're going to lay a big egg, and that big egg is going to be death when you get judged by your books and by what the book says. And none of us want that, so we got to do our best while we can. 22, and start from verse 12.
The book of Revelation, chapter 22, verse 12. And behold, I come quickly.
So we think it's going to be a long time, but Christ said he's going to come quickly.
And my reward is with me.
And his reward is with him.
To give every man according as his work shall be.
To give every man according as his work shall be. So some of us will get rewarded with eternal life. Some of us are going to get rewarded with eternal damnation. That's just the way it is. As an Israelite, there's no avoiding that at all. It's either life or death. And that life is only going to that 144 and the 1/3 and the multitude. That's it. Read verse 14.
Verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments.
Again, blessed are they that do his commandments. Like it says in Judges 5 and 11, rehearse the righteous acts. So from Old Testament to New Testament, it never changed. And you know the things, everything written, the Most High God foresaw everything. So when that was written in Judges, that was talking about Purim too. Even though it wasn't enacted at that time, the Most High God knew what feast days that would be set up, like Purim, like Nicanor, like feast dedication, like Day of Simon. All that wasn't encompassed in that.
That they might have right to the tree of life.
Top again.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
So the gates of the city, that's, you win the game, you get the Gatorade shower, you get the orange peels, and you're going home. That's going home for us, going home to our land. So we cannot get that if we're not rehearsing and practicing these laws.
All praises. Yeah. Y'all, like Officer said, man, y'all got to practice. Practice means what? Application, right? You got to apply these laws. Seek counsel from leadership. Follow counsel from leadership. Don't be amongst yourselves giving each other counsel and stuff, all right? Do not follow bad counsel, all right? Y'all don't counsel down, counsel up, right? Hey, Zane, play this video real quick, because this is what y'all look like if y'all are counseling with brothers who are not sound in their doctrine. Y'all got me? Play that video, Zane. This is an example of brothers who counsel with brothers who are not sound. Come on, IT. This is what y'all look like. Play it.
Now I know what you're thinking. We're in grave, imminent danger. But if you follow these urban survival techniques, you will live to see another day. First step, what you want to do? Grab the hammer. You can now no longer fire the weapon.
You follow bad counsel, man. That's what happened to you, man. You get put to death, right?
Instead of light, it's gonna be flames.
Instead of light, that's gonna be flame work.
That's
You
like
gonna
when
be
you
in
follow
there.
Christianity and bad counsel.
Right. So
And with that,
What is the nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.